Today I'm making a short video to remember September 11th, 2001. Sometimes we refer to it as 9/11. That was a tragic day and many people died. A lot of people were on those airplanes. They got on those planes thinking they were going on a vacation or a business trip, and that was the end of their life. So it was a very tragic day, and we have to really remember what happened that day. At that time, I was living in Bridgeport. I had 3 little kids, and I was working as a wedding photographer. And the morning that it happened was a Tuesday morning. It was a beautiful sunny day. I woke up and was getting ready. The kids got on the school bus and went to school. I don't know what time it was, maybe around 9. I got in my car and I was driving to the studio to meet the other photographer to talk about upcoming weddings. I turned on the radio. Usually I listen to FM radio, classic rock, but that day I put it on AM. And there was some news, and it was New York City station. They were talking about a building on fire and a building collapsing. And I didn't really pay that much attention to it because in New York City there's fires every day. But then when they said it was the Twin Towers and they said that a commercial airliner crashed into it, I really perked up and said, wow, what is going on? And by the time I arrived and we got out and we were talking about the upcoming weddings, the TV was on and we saw the video of this airplane crashing, and then there was another airplane crashing into it, and then they started talking about the Pentagon and more planes, and it was a very serious time. So looking back now, 20 years later, there are lots of people now that are, 17, 18, 19 years old. They have no idea what it was. But being there on that day, it was a very intense day. And the kids got let out from school. And I remember sitting in the park with my kids right after school in the afternoon, and what a tragic thing it was. And then after that, I was shooting weddings those weekends in September and October. And a lot of the weddings, there were very few people, or there were less than normal people showing up for the wedding because, if the wedding's in Connecticut, typically there's going to be some people that are flying in from California or Georgia or Montana or Kansas, but their flights were not very active after that, and a lot of people were like, no, I'm not going to get on an airplane. So there were a lot less people there. And then one time, around that time, I was doing a wedding in Manhattan. In New York City, there were signs up all over. There were posters that people made, and it had a picture of a person on there, and the text of it was something like, have you seen this person? Have not been seen since the morning of September 11th. And people were very hopeful and maybe a little bit naive that their loved one left for work that morning and they never saw him again, and they were hoping, well, they're going to come back and somebody's going to find him. But all those posters were sad posters that were put up in vain. Another memory I have is on September 11th, those airplanes crashed, and the air traffic controllers, they shut down all the flights in America. There were no more flights. All the flights were done. So every day we're used to hearing jets go over, there goes a jet, there goes a jet. You don't even think about it, but it was silent. And for days, the skies were silent. There were no airplanes flying. But September 11th, I went to sleep, and in the middle of the night, I woke up and I heard some jets. I don't know what they were, but I heard some jets going over, and I don't know what that was all about. Now 20 years have passed and wounds heal and people forget, but I think we really do have to make an effort to remember the people that died tragically that day, and to remember the heroic firefighters who died and the first responders who ran to the scene, and also the cleanup. There was at the site, they call it Ground Zero, which is a term from nuclear attacks. When a nuclear bomb is ignited, then they say that area is Ground Zero. So we use that term now casually, Ground Zero, but there were people in there sifting through the rubble trying to find people alive and trying to find what they could. And that went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And some of the people that were working there voluntarily and sacrificially, they got sick, and from breathing in that stuff, some people died from that. So 20 years later, I'm taking a little bit of time to remember September 11th, 2001.